Welcome to the Wild Scientist Podcast. My name is Courtney Jage, and I'm a senior anthropology major at Illinois State University.
And my name is Kelly Kennedy. I'm a junior anthropology major at Illinois State University. And today we'll be discussing one of the latest discoveries in paleoanthropology, Homo luzonensis. So, luzonensis was initially discovered in 2007 when researchers found a right metatarsal bone. If you don't know what a metatarsal bone is, that's essentially the beginning of your toes. They're longer than your actual toe bones, but you get it. So they were found on Luzon Island in the Philippines, but the new species was officially announced just in April 2019 with the discovery of more bones. But before we get too much into luzonensis, let's do a quick background of previous hominid ancestors so we just know what we're talking about. There are two big genuses that you need to know in our evolution. There's Australopithecus and Homo. Courtney, what's up with the Australopithecus?
I'm going to tell you a few of the defining traits of Australopiths. So they are known to have a lower cranial capacity than genus Homo. They have very prognathic faces, so their face protrudes outward. They have a retention of significant arboreal adaptations and some imperfect bipedal adaptations as well. And their dental morphology consists of worn tips and thick enamel. Some Australopiths to note would be Australopithecus Africanus, who dates from 4.2 to 3.9 million years ago. Africanus was discovered in 1965 near Lake Turkana in northern Kenya, and they are the oldest universally accepted hominin. Australopithecus Afarensis dates from 3.6 to 2.9 million years ago and was discovered in Hadar, Ethiopia in 1974, and the most famous specimen of Afarensis would be Lucy. Maybe you've heard of her. Lastly, we have Australopithecus Africanus, who dates from 3.3 to 2.1 million years ago. And a really good example of Africanus is the first specimen that was discovered, known as the Tong Child.
So people think that Australopithecus was the origin for the genus Homo, which this is pretty accepted. So what defines Homo and what makes them different? The traits I'm going to list are up for debate. There's a lot going on with defining Homo, but according to Encyclopedia Britannica, it includes a large cranial capacity, which is larger brains, a limb structure adapted to habitual erect posture, and a bipedal gait. Essentially, they had longer legs, shorter arms, and a wider, shorter pelvis. They have well-developed and fully opposable thumbs. With that, they have hands capable of power and precision grips. It just means we are using our hands to the fullest, people. And we also have the ability to make precision tools using one tool to make another, which is very special in our world. Some homos of note, one of the big early homos is Homo Erectus. This dates from 1.89 million up to 143,000 years ago. They were initially discovered in 1890. They spread across Africa, eventually going into Asia and possibly Europe. Then we have Homo Neanderthalensis. You would know them as the Neanderthals. They date from 400,000 to 40,000 years ago, and they were discovered in 1829. They've only been discovered in Europe. Then there's Homo floresiensis. They date from 100,000 to 50,000 years ago, and you might know them as the hobbits. They only go to around 3 feet tall, so everybody was very confused when we found them. They were discovered in 2004, only about 2,000 miles south of Homo luzonensis. They were also found in a cave, but they were on the Isle of Flores. And then, of course, the main is Homo sapiens. That's us. Modern humans date back to around 300,000 years ago. We evolved in Africa and are now clearly found worldwide. Now that we have a brief background of other members in our family tree, let's discuss our newest addition. What's up, Courtney?
So we're going to discuss Homo luzonensis. Luzonensis was discovered on Luzon Island, and what was discovered were 13 hominin elements, which are fossils or artifacts relating to modern humans, extinct humans, and relating ancestors. So they were found in a cave called Callow Cave. This discovery includes 2 finger bones, 2 toe bones, an upper premolar, 7 upper molars, and part of a femur. So since humans only have 6 upper teeth, researchers believe that these fossils represented around 3 individuals. Everything that was found dates back between 67,000 and 50,000 years ago, but could be as old as 700,000 years ago based on tools that had been discovered nearby. So, like I mentioned, these discoveries were made in Callow Cave, and caves are a really great place to find fossils because the climate's stable. The cave protects remains from not only the elements outside, but also from scavengers.
But really, the biggest mystery of all is how Homo luzonensis arrived at the island and the caves. Geologists tell us that the last 2.85 million years ago, there hasn't been a land bridge from mainland Asia to connect to the Isle of Luzon. So they couldn't have walked there. There are a couple ways that Homo luzonensis could have arrived at the island, but really the driving factor is luck. They could have been dragged out there by a tsunami, as some people claim. That's the main theory. But personally, why couldn't they have built a boat or a raft?
Right?
I don't know. I think they could have figured it out.
Me too.
But anyway, the big thing here is that the isolation is really important for should luzonensis be declared as part of the Homo family.
Some people believe that researchers were too quick to declare Homo luzonensis as part of a new species of Homo. The bones discovered are an interesting mosaic of both Australopithecus and Homo elements. So the teeth are small and they're similar to Homo in shape and size. However, the crowns, roots, and enamel all represent Australopithecus more. Bones like the fingers are long and narrow like Homo, but the toes are curved, similar to Australopithecus. Unfortunately, there has not been any DNA extracted to help clarify Homo luzonensis' place in our family tree. But what do we think about this?
Well, I think it's certainly possible that luzonensis is a part of Homo. I'm definitely in the camp that we don't have enough evidence. It's so interesting that it's a mosaic. It could definitely be like an in-between species between Australopithecus and Homo. So I think I just really want more fossils to help us understand it a little more.
Couldn't have said it better myself. I also think it could be a possibility, but like Kelly said, without further evidence, it's very difficult to determine exactly where Homo luzonensis should belong in our evolutionary history.
So issues like this pop up a lot in our field. The field of human origins has been transformed throughout the last decade or so by new discoveries like Homo luzonensis. We've found Homo naledi, Homo floresiensis, as we mentioned earlier. So I really think we just need a more intensive exploration of underrepresented regions that can help, and those can help answer the questions brought up by all the new discoveries.
This has been the Wild Scientist Podcast with Courtney Jage and
Kelly Kennedy.
Thanks for listening.